Good morning. Welcome back to Market Day Report, and welcome to a Thursday already out this morning from USDA, a weekly export sales report. Now coming up tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 Central, we get a cattle on feed report. So a couple of reports this week from USDA. Now, before we get into the actual markets that are trading, earlier, we were talking with Brian Hoops, and he said, watch what's happening with the dollar index. Well, what's happening? Dollar index is moving higher, and moving higher based upon that quarter-point cut by the FOMC yesterday. Again, the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, indicating maybe fewer cuts coming in 2025. So that's what we're watching this morning. The dollar index. Also on top of that, the Dow, which finished its 10th consecutive close lower yesterday. That's the first time we've seen that since 1974. Let me see, that's 50 years, right? Wow, 50 years since that happened. Morning trade has begun, and the Dow Mini is moving higher. NASDAQ also higher, and the S&P moving higher as well. Now over to the row crops. Let's get to corn first. And the March contract is a quarter penny higher, 437.5. The deferreds are all in the red. Soybeans, we had a flash sale, unknown destinations. Worded kind of strange because it's soybeans received and then turned back around and sold off in the export market. January is 6 cents higher, 9.57 3/4, and the March up 5 1/4. Soy meal contracts are starting the morning higher after a lower session overnight, and the same for soy oil. Now to the wheat market. Wheat's been hammered now really this year, but the March contract for Chicago at 5.33, it's down 8 1/4. July new crop 5.50 3/4, down 8 1/4. Hard red July 5.59.5 off 5 1/4, and spring wheat Minneapolis 3.5 cents lower on the March, 5.88.5. One more before we get to Tommy Grisafi with Nesvick Trading, and that's the cotton market with December. It's 69.20. This is December 2025. It's down 19 points. All right, Tommy Grisafi joining us now. And Tommy, that's a lot of numbers there, but what are you watching?
I'm watching the bond market. I mean, who doesn't use money? You're either paying interest or getting interest. And right now, the United States Treasury bond yields are going up. Now, you, sir, Mr. Tony, just said the Fed cut rates a quarter point. But why are yields going up? Well, after the Fed did their little quarter point rate cut, there was some language in there. And old Jay Powell, he was talking. As he started to talk, the Dow Jones went from up 200 to down 1150. It's now up 350. The biggest news out there, interest rates exploded up, one of the biggest moves in Fed history, one of the second greatest volatility spikes. The stock market's been generally going up. Doesn't surprise me the least bit. Spoiler alert for the next segment, that cattle are lower. When cattle closed, the Dow Jones was up 100. And then you wake up this morning and the world changed overnight. Yes, that dollar index is so important. My good friend Brian pointed that out. So what do we have? It's Christmas. I'm wearing a red tie. Merry Christmas. I'm here at the new place in Nashville. Absolutely loving it here. Got the tree behind us. Gina G got the new house all set up. But with that, we got to keep an eye on these markets. People who've made money this year, they're done. The markets, I said this before on your show Monday, I'll say it again. The markets have to move hard enough and extreme enough to get professional traders to take the other side. Back to you, my friend.
Well, good point there. And with the Christmas tree in the background, reminds us of light volume trading coming up for the next couple of weeks. We'll take a break, be back in a moment. We'll talk livestock futures. Market Day Report continues after this. Couple of things we're watching in the cattle market. One, cash cattle. What will we do this week? Second, cattle on feed report that comes out 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 o'clock Central tomorrow. So ahead of that, how do we trade? Let's go to Chicago, and the live cattle market is in the red. December down 55 at 190.75, And the April now at 189.35. It's down $1.15, but notice we start 190 in December, drop to 187 in February, bump back up to April at 189. For the feeders, $1.80 lower on the January at 255.20, and the top is out in the August contract at 261.20, and that's down $2.20. Hog trade moving higher. Weekly export sales somewhat disappointing, 11.2 thousand metric tons. That's just for this year, though. You add next year in, and we get 5,800 more metric tons in there. So number not horrible, just 50% of what it was last week. February hogs, 84.30, up 60. Let's go back to Nashville. Nesvick Trading, Tommy Grisafi, what are you watching now?
I can almost see you out my window, as like Sarah Palin said about Russia. Listen, you get a stock market move like that at the end of December, cattle are going to have a hard time rallying. I was on every morning. Nesvick has a cattle conference call. It's absolutely amazing. But the fundamentals are bullish. A 1,300 point move in the Dow, you're going to readjust some risk. I told you the other day, all the food we're going to consume for Christmas, that's already been processed in the store shelves. I hope you eat nothing but the highest quality proteins out there. For you vegetarians out there, we'll work on you next year in 2025. But money is going to get tight for people. You're starting to see auto companies say 0% financing. The system's slowing down. The Fed cut rates, interest rates, real interest rates, the ones I trade at the Chicago Board of Trade, and the ones the Treasury issues every day and week went up. That is going to work against the cattle producer. Back to you, my friend.
Plus, we're also seeing that lower income households, we're seeing that credit card debt skyrocket as well. So 2025 may be an interesting year, I guess is a good way to put it. Tommy, thanks for popping in. Great looking tie, great background, and Merry Christmas. Tommy Grisafi with Nesvick Trading. Again, we'll continue to watch the markets. Cash cattle, that's one area we'll keep an eye on. What direction will we go? Will it be higher this week? Will the South accept lower bids? I don't think so, but we'll see.